Welcome back, listeners. I'm Robin Black, and this is It's All About Healing podcast. In today's episode, being trapped by technique due to lack of direction in the presence of distractions. And that alone in the title is it's a lot. That says a lot, right? We, with YouTube, and as popular as it is, there's videos for absolutely everything. There's videos for manifestations, how to get a guy, how to get a girl, all these different techniques, how to lose weight in, 40 days, how to lose 15 pounds in 20 days, all these different things. And then when we see those things, it's kind of like a kid in a candy store, right? You're definitely going to click on it because if that's what you're wanting, that's exactly what you're going to click on. And when we click on these things and we are listening to others, they're merely guides. That's literally it. There are no answers, and we have to stop looking for answers because no man can give us answers. Absolutely not. The only one who can give us answers is God himself, right? They're the only ones. That's why, due to lack of direction in the presence of distractions, we can get the very techniques that we're looking for are the very techniques that still can become distractions because we're getting lost in the technique. When someone says, hey, the way that you manifest things, you can manifest whatever you want in 20 days, as long as you go home, open up a notebook, write whatever it is that you're wanting 200 times, then go burn it and do this and they have all these things. And then what do you think to yourself is that didn't work, right? Or this isn't working. In the same way with how to get a guy, how to get a girl, how to tell when somebody's doing this, how the no contact, all these different rules, all these different techniques, you get lost in them, right? And when you get lost in these different techniques, it creates that domino effect, right? That domino effect has now initiated. Someone's technique is not the answer, so we have to stop looking for those answers because we then open the door to discouragement due to a false reality that we created ourselves, including a false timeline that we created. Right? Even as our prayers go up and our blessings come down, God says, hey, yeah, you definitely, I got your prayer. You received the blessing. But did he ever tell us when we would receive it? No. And he's not going to tell us when we receive it. We might have to wait for the next 10 to 20 years before we receive that blessing. So when we get lost in this technique and we're focused so much on trying to make it happen, we get lost in discouragement because now it's like when you're waiting for someone to come over, right? You look outside, you open the blinds or the curtain and you try to look, you're looking for them, looking to see if you see them coming. That's how it is when you're looking for something that you're wanting to receive. When you just keep constantly looking, you're going to keep creating that resistance. And then that discouragement is going to lead you down that dark rabbit hole that may lead to depression. When we create our own false reality, when we say, hey, I want this thing, we don't focus on the direction, on getting that direction from the divine, trying to align and heal and take the time to just, hey, I need to isolate. Those are the things that we're just like, I kind of want to just get the gist of it, get a surface level and just have it all come to me, right? We want it now. We want it fast. Again, we want that microwavable approach to life. We want the microwavable approach to receiving the things that we want to have as well. But the very first thing that we have to do when trying to move throughout life is to stop looking for answers. Even when we go to YouTube for things. If you're not looking for a how to on a DIY, how to fix something yourself or create something yourself, that's one thing. But as far as life problems, when we go to YouTube, the very first thing you must put your state of mind, your state of being in is, I'm not searching for an answer. I'm searching for guidance. I'm searching on trying to understand, maybe, right? And still saying, I understand that this is only a guiding tool. This is not an answer. To get the answer, we must be alone. Be alone to find that answer, to isolate and try to listen to those thoughts and embrace the silence that gives you those answers. Because that's God in the universe that's giving you those answers. It's definitely not by what you see or what you want, what you create, the false reality that you created. That's only gonna upset you. And you're gonna start to feel sorry for yourself. You're gonna start self-sabotaging. It leads to so many negative things and so many lies, because that's where that darkness creeps in and it starts telling those lies. And it's the one thing that we have to do, instead of being so focused on how do I get here? How do I focus on this technique to get here? It's about focusing on what's already within you, because you already have all the answers. You already have all the tools and resources that you need for whatever it is that you really desire, right? Because you were born with it. It's about how to understand and align so it can come out. And honestly, I would say the first step is being aware, being aware of yourself, that self-awareness, and noticing the moment especially when you hang on to words. When we hear words and you say immediately, like if you hear mastering the art of losing, mastering the art of strategy, mastering the art of silence or whatever, right? You immediately start saying, okay, let me listen to this and I'll find the answer. This will be the answer. It's crazy how quickly we fall into feeling or assuming that something's the answer. It's almost automatic when we don't really sit and think about it and take time to just say, okay, what did I just think? Reflect on the thoughts that we're actually thinking before we start trying to retain everything. It's like, okay, before I try to retain everything that I'm hearing and process everything that I'm hearing, I have to keep reminding myself that this isn't the answer. That way, I'm not so focused on the technique. I'm not so focused on doing it the way this person is doing it. It's kind of like with these singers, right? You have a lot of them trying to recreate Whitney Houston and Michael Jackson, and it's like, that's great and all that they sound like Whitney Houston, or they can move like Michael Jackson, or some of them may resemble Michael Jackson, but they're not them. At the end of the day, the world has already seen them. We miss them, but you'll never be them. And that's the harsh reality for some people who are trying to be them. Just like all these singers that are trying to do all of this, the whistle notes like Mariah Carey. And it's just, now it's getting to the point where it's like, okay, that's just another person that's trying to sound like Mariah Carey. It's about being unique. It's about bringing that authenticity of you, even though you may have the same skill. It's different because it was meant to be different coming from you and not the technique of someone else. And it's kind of like Christina Aguilera. She has a beautiful voice. Does she sometimes sound like Whitney Houston? Yeah. And you might think, oh man, that must be Whitney Houston. Then the longer you hear her singing, you're like, no, no, that's Christina, because she has this voice that is just her when you know that it's her, because her voice just, it has something that is just beyond, and it's so beautiful. And the way that she articulates things, it's just everyone has something very special about them because it's for them. But if everyone was out here just trying to sound like a certain someone, you're getting trapped by that technique. I have to sound like this. I have to sound like this person. Then you're trying to go by what's backed by popular demand. And then you're going to realize, hey, your fans are going to start to die off because you're not that person. Right? It's Jessie J. She can sing Hero, and she puts her own spin on it where you know that it's her. Jessie J has a gorgeous voice, and she is very authentic. But she sang that Mariah Carey song, and you hear Mariah Carey sing it, you say, oh, Mariah Carey, she's beautiful. I know the difference, right? I know when I'm listening to Mariah Carey, and I know when I'm listening to Jessie J. You know the difference, even though they still have similar qualities, right? Similar talents, but they're still different because they don't get trapped by the technique. They own their own. They make it their own. And that's what life is about. With everything that we want or everything that we're learning, it's about taking it as a guiding tool and moving forward. And okay, let me try to take this in, let me process this and figure out how I can use it and apply it to my life, apply it to the way that fits for me instead of how it fits for her. Just like I said with working out, if you turn on to these workout videos on YouTube and they say, okay, how to do this, and they start showing their testimonials, and they have some woman that lost 15 pounds in 20 days. And then they have this gentleman over here that says that he lost 64 pounds in 4 months. And then immediately you think, okay, that's exactly what I want to do. But you're not factoring in, hormone imbalances, the stuff that you eat, your age, what medication you're on. There's so many factors, right, that we don't think about. Some of that is just literally advertisement, just to get people to buy their product or to gain followers and subscribers. And again, they're guiding tools. They don't, get me wrong, they do help, but it may not help you the way that it has helped them. And that's where we have to focus is, hey, I understand this may not work the way that it worked for them because this may not be the exact answer for me. So I don't have to hang on every word or hang on every technique. I just have to use it as a guiding tool until I see what actually works for me. And as we start moving and aligning, we start aligning with what God has for us, right? We start aligning with what the universe has for us because we're now moving along our own path, right? We're all in a different race. It's just like I said before with the roller coaster effect, right? And the seesaw effect and the yo-yo effect. The roller coaster, life is going to have its ups and downs, but on that roller coaster, you're on that roller coaster with anywhere between 20 to 50 other people, right? Whether you're turning left, you're going right, you're going upside down, whether you want to or not, you're along on that ride with all these other people going through the same exact thing that they're going through because you're on this roller coaster that you really don't want to be on, right? That's what happens when we try to force a technique, when we force that false reality and we think, okay, well, my reality is going to line up with your reality. No, it's not. You're going to end up not having any fun because you're like, okay, I'm ready to get off this roller coaster now because it's nothing but destruction. There's nothing but sadness. There's nothing but darkness because I'm not happy, right? You're not going to find happiness trying to follow what someone else's reality is. And it's about not even that seesaw effect, right? That's codependency. We can't be dependent on what others think of us, what we see in others, and oh, everybody else looks like this, so I want to look like this too. And I want to, be able to hear that validation from others. And how I feel about myself is dependent on what others feel. We have to get out of that mental prison. We can no longer remain trapped in that mental prison of, I got to be like others. It's always about the appearance and the outward of things. It's not about that. That's why it's about healing. And it takes time. It takes alignment. I have to heal from within before I can start healing the outside as well. You know what I mean? It takes years. It takes months. It takes so much to grow, and to grow in knowing who you are and understanding that divine oneness. And it takes research and reading different books. You can read the what is it, the 12 laws of the universe. That's a great book to read. That's definitely one that I would suggest as a guiding tool, to read that, because you will gain so much understanding simply by reading that book. And a friend of mine recommended me to read that book, and it really did. It definitely, I will say, definitely helped align certain things. And it gives me that recall. The moment that I start looking for that answer, it gives me that thought process of understanding, hey, now I'm getting in that repetition of saying, okay, remember, this isn't an answer. This is just how I have to start looking at things. And now I'm able to move through life without looking at what others have and comparing, right? It's comparing things or others, what others have, or just, what they look like to yourself. That is definitely going to lead to discouragement. And that definitely is a distraction. It keeps you from becoming who you are meant to be. And that's what I've kind of gotten the habit of saying to myself every day. It's just that repetition. I'm not meant to look like what other people look like, what other women look like. I'm not meant to do these things. I'm not meant to look and conform to this world. We are meant to stand out in different ways as individuals. We have to utilize fear, right? Fear is valuable. I remember in the episode, I believe it was called Communicating with the Unconscious. And I remember speaking with Igor, and I remember him telling me that fear was valuable because fear, it brings emotion. And that emotion is what drives us. It drives us to push harder. It drives us to want things, right? There's a difference between fear and the value of fear, and also the implemented fear. And you have to know how to differentiate as to, hey, is this fear that I'm feeling that I can break through this fear, or is this implemented fear? Is this the fear that someone is trying to scare me away from doing what I'm meant to do, from being who I'm meant to be? It's about aligning our internal compass, and also not having that internal prejudice as well, right? A lot of us may say, oh, all men are the same, all women are the same, or all women only want this and that, that's that internal prejudice, right? And when you keep constantly saying that to yourself, that's all that you're going to attract. You're going to feel that way in your world, right? You're going to feel that way in your head because, one, we all internalize so many thoughts, right? We're constantly internalizing, and those negative thoughts start to manifest themselves. So everything that we keep constantly saying to ourselves is, oh, all these people are the same, all these women, or however you want to categorize it. That's what it really, your reality is going to become, that because that's truly what you feel, that's truly what you believe. Therefore, you attract that, and it's about breaking that down. It's about aligning yourself again with the divine, allowing that discernment to come on. You keep asking for more discernment. You ask for that spiritual discernment. You ask to, God, please just blind me, right? Just keep these distractions away so I can focus on what it is that you're trying to tell me, what it is that I have to learn that I'm not seeing. Please allow me to see it. Please show me the way. I want to erase this internal prejudice that I have against women, or that I have against men, or I have against whatever. There's so many things that we bring in ourselves, and we look outward for blame. We want to place blame on someone else because you hurt me. Now my life has changed. No, that's a negative, right? There's always the absence of accountability. Even though this person hurt you, everyone has an assignment, right? Without darkness, we would never see the stars. We have to have darkness, and the light has to have darkness, and the darkness has to have light. They actually balance each other out, just like the universe is always balancing things out. Everyone's going to have a storm. Everyone's going to have a time when your life just seems to be smooth sailing. Then you're going to go through a storm again. Like that's just the way of the world. That's the way the universe balances things out. It doesn't mean it's the end all be all because something in your life isn't going well, or you've been not doing so well for years and years and years. It's everyone's season is at a different length, but it's also about owning that accountability, owning that, hey, my life is the way it is because these are the paths that I chose to take, right? And it all depends on how you react to each situation that comes your way. Learning to respond and react. That's key. That's going to be the gold in how you move through life and what you start to attract coming into your life. And even when we're at these jobs where you might say, "Oh, I can't stand my boss," or "This coworker gets on my nerves," and this and that. Sometimes our biggest challenge, those people typically sometimes may be your destiny helpers, right? Because they're challenging you to break you out of your old way of thinking, right? So anytime that you see a challenge, it doesn't mean get uncomfortable and just, oh, I just want to quit. That's, hey, you have to start inviting in those challenges because those challenges are what's trying to change you, right? We can't just stay complacent. We can't stay doing and just keep going the same way that we've been going for years and years and years. Just like when you hear a lot of people look back and say, oh, I wish I could just be this, what I was in high school. But where was your mindset when you were in high school? Would you really want to be in your 40s and still have the same mindset that you had when you were 16? Absolutely not. So that's why I said it's about being present. It's not about looking backwards or, looking too far into the future. It's just about being present, being able to remain steadfast where you are. I'm listening to others. I'm hearing your technique that you're using, but I know I have to make it my own. I know there's something that I'm still learning, and it's okay to know that you're still learning. If you're still experiencing certain things that aren't good for you, they're making you very uncomfortable, that lesson just keeps presenting itself, it's because you're not changing. It's because you're not fully understanding or you're not applying the lessons that you're learning. It's all about applying it. And then soon enough, that same lesson that kept repeating itself, it's going to stop showing up, right? That ex that kept calling you, he's finally going to stop calling, or he or she is going to finally stop calling. They're going to stop reaching out, right? Because you're going to stop entertaining the past and you're just going to keep moving forward. You're going to stop trying to focus on what someone else has, what someone else is doing, and stop hanging on every word and trying to verbatim just do exactly what they're doing step by step. You're going to say, I can't live like this anymore. I have to just do it myself. And when you do, that's just when you finally start living. You're not going to just be in survival mode anymore. And I know that's what we all want. We all want to live our lives and not just be in the state of surviving. But again, I'm Robin Black. This is It's All About Healing podcast. Everyone stay blessed. Again, I'm your host, Robin Black, and this is It's All About Healing podcast. If you're navigating grief, toxic relationships, trauma, financial pressure, or the slow work of rebuilding after setback piled upon setback, this channel is for you. Our community now spans 118 countries, proof that real stories travel and that healing accelerates when we carry one another. Share your story, lend your voice, and let grace turn pain into purpose. Book your podcast in the link below and share your story. Be sure to like and subscribe, and don't forget to hit that notification bell. Wherever you are in the world, good morning, good evening, and good night. Stay blessed.